HIV and AIDS are no longer strange words. In fact, they are the center of formal and informal discussions in society and the world today. In 1982, the first HIV and AIDS victim in Uganda was identified in Rakai district on the western shores of Lake Victoria. At that time, nobody seemed to know what the disease was. As early as 1985, government of Uganda established a National Committee on the Prevention of HIV and AIDS, but it was not until 1986 when realistic interventions to address the scorching problem were launched. First was the establishment of the AIDS Control Program, ACP, in the Ministry of Health to focus mainly on blood safety, prevention of HIV infections under healthcare settings, and public awareness on the whole. In 1992, the Uganda AIDS Commission UAC was created by an Act of Parliament to coordinate activities of the various stakeholders who are engaged in the fight against the scourge in the country.
The need for a partnership, to realize that HIV/AIDS, there is no single partner, whether it is civil society or government or church or business or private sector or whatever, that can alone break down all this stigma and discrimination, and also help in the fight and reducing prevalence like what we've done in Uganda. It must be a strong partnership where everybody's voice is allowed to flourish and people use their comparative advantage. The question of multi-sectoral partnership.
The most visible social impact of the epidemic has been the rapid growth of the number of orphans in Uganda. It is estimated that over 2 million children have been orphaned due to HIV and AIDS. That is, according to the Uganda AIDS Commission National Strategic Framework for HIV and AIDS activities in Uganda. Sanyu is 8 years old. She lost her mother to HIV/AIDS 2 years ago, though her father had died a month before she was born. She was left in the hands of her relatives, who at first showed a lot of sympathy and promised to look after her. One of them was her paternal aunt. In the initial stages, it all went well, and Sanyu was taken to school. But hardly had she settled in school than ill feelings from the same relatives set in to determine her present fate.
Nafunye essomero bali baliyita St. Francis. Nasomeranga naye nga leero bye bangoba ngamba tuula nze ebintu natuula nga mbyeza. Leero nenzirayo era ne bangoba mbasigala. Ekenyini nayegenderayo nga byogerayo nti tena sente tena ki, naye nga abaana be bekenyini bafaako bokka beyazaala bokka bafaako. Olunaku olwatuuka nga ndi mu kiraasi saakola omwaka nali mbuzaayo batwa gundi namba 20 eza omwaka ali mbuzaayo ya 20 yokka kulako 19 na 20 yokka yeyabulayo nentuuka ewaka nga omwana wo musomesa yatusomesa kati weyagira namuwulya nti twabadde omwaka nesuubira nti oba yamazeeyo kosenga nagamba leeta ekitabo kyondabe wakoze omwaka gamba leeta omugo omunene gw'omusambya ate nga mubuzi sina wagujja negamba kaŋŋende fune wensuula nkwatako blanket yange ngende woona.
We tried to see the aunt, but up to now she's just abusing me. Even when we meet on the way, she doesn't greet me. When I greet her, she does not respond. We took her to the town council offices. She said that I've left Sanyu for you. I've given her to you from now until death.
Namugongo Fund for Special Children, NFSC, is a community-based non-government organization in Uganda helping orphaned and other vulnerable children reach their full potential through education and other opportunities. The organization was founded in 1986 to primarily care for handicapped children in Namugongo and the surrounding communities. In May 2000, NFSC changed its focus to AIDS orphans by supporting the community to take care of them.
The death of my brother was an eye-opener for me to a population that wasn't thought about that time. Many of us who have been in this field a long time, we've been working with people who are struggling with issues of disclosure, issues of treatment, discrimination, and I had never really thought about the children left behind until my brother passed away, and I came home to find my nieces and nephews in my parents' home. That's what prompted me to think, what happens to other children. My nieces and nephews were lucky they had a grandmother and grandfather to come to. How about others? And for sure, many children in the community, some of them had just resorted to being the heads of their households, taking care of themselves. So I thought that maybe, us as a village could come together to try and seek out these children and give them some help that can help them stay in school and further their education.
Like any other organization, Namugongo Fund for Special Children is governed by an executive board of directors who ensure the smooth day-to-day running of the organization.
As a board member, I think most of our activities are about technical support, providing the staff and the volunteers with direction and guidance, and making sure that the fund is running as planned. As a social worker, I have input in how the program is run, how it's implemented, innovations and reporting. And we also, other board members take part in the financial accountability. We all take part in financial mobilization and management to make sure that the fund continues growing.
However, for the program to take shape, one major aspect in the welfare of children had to be in place, and this was the provision of breakfast every school morning.
I talked to one of the ladies in the village who had lost 3 adult children. We talked about the things that we could start offering the children who were orphaned, and we thought food would be number one because children were going to school hungry, no breakfast, and some of them were skipping school to go and look for food. So we decided that we'll start by probably supporting a few with breakfast. So this woman, NFSC, agreed to make breakfast every school morning. So when I went back to the US, I sent her money every month to buy porridge ingredients for 60 children. The program started with 1 center with 60 children.
Today, NFSC has 6 breakfast centers serving breakfast to 1,098 children. The breakfast consists of porridge made from maize meal and soybean and a daily multivitamin. Each center has a volunteer cook who takes roll call and checks the general health of the children. Each center also has a community committee that helps in verification of the needs for recruited children.
When you look at those children, just as you've seen them, most of them or all of them they are single orphaned or double orphaned. So they live with parents who cannot afford a breakfast when they are going to school. So Madame Rosette Seranga, when she was our founder of the project, she thought about them going to school without something in the stomach is not good for a studying child. So that's how she introduced the program to help them at least have something. And most of them, they are HIV positive. When you're on drug, ARVs, you can't go to school and take those drugs without something to eat.
25% of the children on the program are HIV positive. However, NFSC has established a clinic situated in Chaliwajala to serve the children and their guardians. The clinic is run by 2 licensed nurses who are also in charge of procurement of medical supplies. They see patients at the clinic and make house calls to follow up or visit those who are too sick to travel to the clinic.
We have 2 clinics, the daily clinic and also we have for GCRC clinic. For daily clinic, we treat those patients who come for simple illness like malaria, cough, fever. Then for GCRC, that one is for HIV patients. We screen them for ELISA. Then from there, if somebody is positive, we remove also the CD4 count for that patient on the viral load to see whether the patients can start the treatment. If the CD4s are below 200, the patients start the treatment, and if they are still above 200, they are given Septrin.
Aida Nakiriza is a person living with HIV/AIDS and lives a destitute life. About 15 kilometers away from the NFSC clinic where she comes for routine checkups is Nakwero village. She lives here and resides in a shack constructed on a small piece of land that is also contested on who legally owns it. Nakiriza joined NFSC after officials from this organization heard about her deteriorating condition through her community members who were receiving similar help from the clinic. She travels from Nakwero every Wednesday on the clinic's day for treatment of opportunistic infections and counseling from visiting doctors to the clinic. Before she joined NFSC, Nakiriza was left with a few white blood cells, maybe a few days to die. But ever since she started treatment from the clinic, she can now afford to fend for herself. Looking after people living with HIV/AIDS is one of NFSC's projects, but the numbers of people who want to benefit from the service have always overwhelmed the organization's resources. However, a number of interventions to address the issue of HIV and AIDS in the community have been employed. One of them was to sign a Memorandum of Understanding with the Joint Clinical Research Center JCRC TREAT program to provide antiretroviral or ARVs to the children and their caregivers. JCRC is the country's main HIV/AIDS research center that has helped to supply antiretrovirals to a number of people suffering from the epidemic. The partnership with NFSC began in May 2006.
The Joint Clinical Research Center started collaborating with Namugongo Fund in the area of HIV diagnosis, treatment and follow-up of patients who are receiving antiretroviral therapy at Namugongo. We now have got a robust partnership, and this partnership has achieved a lot. Among the areas where this partnership has been successful is in introduction of antiretroviral therapy. Currently, the Namugongo Fund is treating over 100 patients. It has got many more in care, and most impressively, it has been able to open satellites and outreaches to be able to reach people in the communities. In other words, they have been taking services to the areas where patients live.
Under this arrangement, a number of children have benefited, and John Muwulya is one example. He lost both his parents at the age of 1 and was left in the care of his grandmother, Desiranta Nantongo. John is considered a miraculous child because from the very beginning of his life on earth, he was always very ill, and it was always thought that he would die any moment. But thank God, NFSC was already helping people like him.
I started being a beneficiary of Namugongo Fund for children when my father passed away because of HIV in 2001 when I was in P7 vacation. So Aunt Rosette, since I was living my granny who could not afford to pay my school fees, she helped me to enter me in Namugongo Fund so that I pay my school fees. And from senior 1 to senior 6, I finished in 2006, and I managed to pass well. And now I was taken to National Teachers College Wanyama. It is in Gulu, where I'm doing my teaching course, and it is a diploma course. I'm going to complete it in 2009 if all goes well.
I'm a vulnerable child. My father and my mother, my parents can't pay school fees for me. So my aunt decided to take me away. I was in the village in Kamwengi district. My aunt decided to take me, and I'm here. So when we came, I started at Muslims, Chalwajala. My aunt took me there. There is one friend of mine who is an orphan. He said, since you are an vulnerable child, I'm an orphan, why don't you join my NFSC? It will help you so that you will be a responsible person in future. Like I said, that is a good idea. I came, I found people who love children, Uncle Alan and Rosette. They take care about us. They take us as their children. So I decided, I'm saying that when I grow up, I also be like that, like Uncle Alan and Aunt Rosette. I'm proud of Aunt Rosette because I'm here. My aunt is not working now.
The Uganda government, through the Ministry of Education, provides free universal education for primary school-going children. However, this project is not comprehensive enough to cover all the requirements that the children may need while at school. This is where the NFSC, on top of providing basic health care, has come in to supplement government's efforts by providing scholarships to help out guardians who cannot meet the requirements that UPE does not provide. This intervention is usually for 1 year.
In the beginning, it was to help parents that were going through some difficult period, maybe because of sickness or immediate loss of breadwinner, just to help them pass through that. We would pay school fees for children for 1 term, 2 terms. But then the other children on our program, like the children who are heading their own households, who need to be in boarding schools so they can have adult supervision at least 9 months out of the year and go to school and be able to sleep. So we started by asking people, individuals, to sponsor children. People made some good commitments. Some people sponsored for three years. But again, as you know, 3 years is not enough to see